Really excited about the first win. It was a tremendous atmosphere. What everybody built it up to be. I was really excited about that. Excited about the win, but it's never fun when your group doesn't perform to the standards that you set. And it starts with me. I felt like I had them prepared. I don't know if I over prepared them. We played very careful, I guess you could say it like that. We were really watched the film, and it wasn't as much. We did a pretty good job from a assignment standpoint. It's just we didn't play with the type of strain that we need to play with up front as far as getting movement. So that's something that we got to correct. It's like I told my guys the other day. They own up to it. They owned it. I owned it. I said, hey, look, only thing when you get a problem, you just got to go back to work and fix it. That's what we're working on this week is fixing that problem. I had several young guys that got a little big-eyed at times. Overall, I thought our protection, with the exception of 2 MAs, which were unfortunately ended up in 2 big hits on the quarterback, but other than that, our protection was pretty solid up front, which I was pleased with because I was a little nervous because their defensive ends were really good players. I thought the tackles held up pretty well against those guys. But run game wise, definitely, you can look at the stat sheet and see it's not a it's not a secret, and it all starts with us. It's not only us, but it starts with us, But we've got to do a better job of getting movement at the point of attack, knocking people off the ball. And, we got to do a better job at the tight end spot. We got to do a better job at the running back spot. But it all starts with us, and it starts with me. And like I said, we're going to go out there and get to work today. And that's like I said, what I told them is the only thing I know to do is just continue working and, keep working, and we'll make strides between game 1 and 2.
You mentioned the tackles. What do you think of Kelby's game?
I thought Kelby, technique-wise, he struggled in some areas, but, he got the job done. He got the job done. He battled protection-wise. I think he had 2 offsides, and those aren't always on him, even though they look like it. We had some issues with hearing the quarterback a couple times where it was him that jumped. But overall, I thought he played pretty good. He held up well in protection, which is what I was most concerned with.
The physicalities that you talk about, have you been better in practice? Or
has
this been an issue?
No, we've been better in practice. We've definitely been better in practice, and I don't know if it was talking to the guys, if it was just one of those things where they went out there and they were just really a little tight about missing blocks and making sure they got on people. Well, we got on the people, but we didn't move them anywhere. So we've got to correct that. Our pad level was not good. You can turn the film on and see us. Their helmets are lower than ours, and those guys were good players, but we're going to see a lot better. So we've definitely got some room to improve.
Mike Brown's inexperience show a little bit in that first game?
It did. His second half was way better than his first half. He had 2 big MAs in the first half, which ended up in 2 big hits on the quarterback. But second half, he played much better in the second half. He calmed down a little bit and played much better.
So far, what sticks out about Missouri's defense on paper?
I'm sorry, say that again?
So far, what sticks out about Missouri's defense?
Their interior D linemen. Both their interior D linemen are really good players. Their Mike linebackers are a really good player. Just overall team speed and size. They're an SEC team, and they're what an SEC team's supposed to look like, just like what a Big 12 team's supposed to look like. So, compared to the team we played last week, had a lot of experience. They were good players, but these guys are much bigger and much more physical. So, it's going to make our job that much tougher. So we definitely got to get better.
What were some of your takeaways from the right guard spot between Chase and John?
I felt like John. I played him for 2 series. And he was a little bit wide-eyed, just first time ever. He played junior college ball, but that's it. And I felt like Chase was doing a good job, and he wasn't really, having played before and been in front of some big crowds, I thought he was handling the moment much better. So he definitely got a lot more snaps than John. But I thought Chase held up. I mean, he held up better than what he'd been showing in practice.
Matt, the physical issues you're talking about, did that affect you at all? Was when or how often you made substitutions to even younger guys or even more experienced guys?
Say that again now.
With the physical issues you're talking about,
yeah,
did that factor at all into when or even if you brought in substitutes?
No, not really. I don't think it had anything to do with bringing in substitutes. Mike came out when he got his hand stepped on or something like that one time. He's got a thumb issue, and that when Committer went in. But I think we just got to sometimes when you go against yourself and you go against the defense all spring and all fall, you think you're at a certain level, then you go out there and you play a live game and you realize you're not you're not giving that strain that you need to give, and that's what it comes down to. Is they strained harder than we did, and that's something that we got to fix.
Have you talked to Vic maybe about, when you look at Mizzou this week, this defense, how much of their struggles maybe them getting gassed in Laramie because of the elevation and stuff like that being a factor?
Yeah, we talked to the guys from Wyoming a little bit, and they said, that's a constant struggle up there. Vic, like you said, being the head coach up there, said he's seen teams come in there and get winded pretty easily. But I still think that, those guys, the bottom line, the guys at Wyoming just blocked them. I mean, they did a good job up front. They did a really good job of blocking them. They ran for like 300 yards. Quarterback's an athletic guy, big athletic runner. They did exactly what we want to do. We watched a lot of their film, and they had great pad level, and they strained harder than those guys from Missouri did. So, we got to do the same thing.
Neil said that he thought that Josh's communication was really good at center, but I might be paraphrasing, but that maybe he didn't fire off like he did at guard because he was sort of thinking and being cautious. Yeah,
like I said, from a total overall missed assignment standpoint for game one, we were really pretty good. But we were, as you saw in the game, it was just a wad of bodies. We never moved anybody, never gave the running back a hole to hit, and so the communication was good. All that stuff, that stuff was really good. It's just we have got to understand what it takes to move people in a game situation, in Division I football, and we didn't understand that, and that's part of learning from game one with a young group. Hey, you got to understand it's going to take more than what it takes at practice versus the scout team. So that's a huge emphasis for us this week.
Now, how much did the limited bodies that you had at tight end affect what you would like to do with the tight ends in the game?
The limited bodies didn't hurt us as much. We just, again, at that position, man, we're so young, and a lot of it was they're the same way. They were getting where they were supposed to be. They just weren't physical at the point of attack. And until you go out there and do that live versus a good football team, then you start to understand, hey, man, this takes a little more than what it's taken during spring. It takes a little more than what it's taken during the, during practice. So I think, we're going to take a big step this week as far as our physicality overall and our effort overall as an offense. I think we're going to take a big step this week now. That really just those guys seeing that they weren't straining enough, and that's the same thing at the tight end spot. It didn't really stop us from running the plays we wanted to run. It just, we limited ourselves on the plays we wanted to run. We only had like 13 first downs. I mean, you can't run many plays when you don't get first downs.
Vic talked about that X3 low playing much better in the game than in practice. You talked about Chase playing much better in the game than in practice. Obviously, there are players who are better game players than practice players. How does a coach figure that out and use it?
Well, I mean, first of all, you got to play a game and see them. Just like now, Chase, I feel much better than what I did previously. Watch him at practice because he really struggled a lot in practice. And then, I watched the games from last year when he played, and I was like, man, he played a good bit, and he did a good job. Well, he kind of did the same thing the other day. His technique's not exactly what we needed to be, but I think he kind of understood the strain a little more than the other guys because he's been there before. He's been there and done that before. So, but that's what you got to do. You got to get them out there, and you got to let them play and get them on film and correct it.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.